Welcome back to Creepshow, the channel where we uncover the dark, twisted, and untold stories behind your favorite TV shows and celebrities. Today, we dive deep into the tragic life of Rick Harrison from the hit series Pawn Stars. From heartbreaking personal losses to legal battles, we're unraveling the real-life drama behind the scenes. Stick around because you won't believe the challenges Rick has faced. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest videos. Now, let's get into the story. Since Pawn Stars was first released in 2009, Rick Harrison has been able to captivate followers and others who are interested in collecting. Rich Harrison's father, Richard the Old Man Harrison, his son, Corey Big Hoss Harrison, and other employees such as Austin Chumley Russell were among the members of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop team that were introduced to the audience through the reality series. The viewers couldn't help but be interested in what's going on in the Harrisons' personal life, both on and off camera, despite the fact that the establishment of the History Channel focuses mostly on the business component of the Harrisons. Although it is reasonable to say that you can't run a pawn shop business in Las Vegas without having some stories to tell, Rick's personal life is equally as entertaining as his professional life. In spite of the challenges he has faced, Rick has maintained his commitment to his committed following and has continued to work on new episodes of the show, even after it has been running for more than 15 years. Despite the fact that it is obvious that Rick's commitment and financial acumen are what keep him moving forward, the issue that arises is whether or not he will ever reach a point where he can no longer continue. In spite of the fact that Rick's life has been filled with a great deal of highs and lows ever since he became famous, it appears that these challenges have been increasingly intense in recent years. Rick's life has been full of ups and downs, including a connection with the old man that can be challenging at times, the loss of a kid during his childhood, and even the death of one of his own children, which has been a painful experience. It's possible that viewers will wonder if Pawn Stars is a hoax, but the challenges that Rick faces are not predetermined in any way during the show. Take a peek at the painful hardships that he is going through. At an early age, Rick Harrison was confronted with a tragic event that occurred inside his family. During an interview that took place in 2014 with the Navy Times, Richard the Old Man Harrison, Rick Harrison's father, explained that he was serving in the United States Navy at the time, which meant that he was not able to spend as much time at home as he would have liked when his children were younger. Sherry Harrison, Rick's sister, was born with Down syndrome, and Richard maintained his military career so that they could pay for her medical fees. Although his absence may have been difficult for his family, it was necessary for them to be able to pay for her medical expenses. Within the pages of his book titled License to Pawn, Rick revealed that his parents tied the knot and began their family when they were still in their younger years. The year 1960 marked the arrival of their first child, Sherry. Less than 4 years later, Rick was born into this world. Unfortuitously, Sherry passed away when she was just 6 years old. Richard, Rick's father, shared his feelings over the death of his young daughter in a different chapter and section of the book. Sherry was the light of my life for the short time we had her. There's a little bit of her still alive in all of our hearts, he wrote in his journal. I believe that. In addition, Rick mentioned that he was still a young child when his older sister passed away, which meant that he did not have the opportunity to develop a deep bond with her. Growing up in the shadow of a sibling who was deeply loved and who had passed away must have been an extremely challenging experience for Rick, especially considering the fact that it had such a profound effect on his parents. This is not something that he touches on a daily basis. He was diagnosed with a disorder that would forever alter his life when he was still a little child. There were other health challenges that the Harrison family had to deal with in addition to Sherry Harrison's physical problems. Rick Harrison, who made his debut on the television show Pawn Stars, was diagnosed with epilepsy when he was still a small child. Rick indicated in an interview with the Epilepsy Foundation that the condition had a significant impact on his youth. He explained that the muscle damage caused by seizures meant that he frequently spent a lot of time in bed, where he ended up doing a lot of reading. That was one of the ways that the illness affected his childhood. In an interview with the Epilepsy Foundation, he stated, "The best way to entertain myself was to read, so I became very interested in history books." This information was obtained from W Top News. In the song License to Pawn, he said that he was absent from school for a significant amount of time, but that he did his best to catch up. A fundraising event for the Epilepsy Foundation was held in 2014, and Harrison was a participant in that event. He revealed with the organization that having seizures when he was a child was a terrifying experience. "Even though my seizures have stopped, I understand what it is like for people who still live with seizures every day." Despite the fact that this event unquestionably had an effect on Rick's adolescence, he has since gone on to use his experiences for the betterment of society by assisting other people. In addition to this, it allowed Rick the opportunity to discover a passion for history when he was a boy. This interest would later be utilized by Rick in his flourishing business empire to assist him in recognizing things of worth that others might not have identified at first glance. The relationship that Rick Harrison had with his father was, at times, somewhat complicated. Fans enjoy seeing the dynamics of the family on Pawn Stars, just as much as they enjoy seeing the unusual items that people bring in. Richard, the old man Harrison, Rick Harrison's father, was a recurring character in the series throughout the first several seasons of its run. Due to the fact that he appeared to have such a wonderful chemistry with Rick and the rest of the team, having the opportunity to watch the eccentric and no-nonsense family patriarch was frequently one of the most enjoyable aspects of the episodes. On the other hand, their connection was not always characterized by a sense of camaraderie and enjoyable times, particularly when Rick was younger. In an interview with Fox News in the year 2020, Rick revealed that one of the most important lessons that his father imparted to him entailed a physical altercation with his father. "I attempted to act all tough and told him, 'F you,' when I was 16 years old. I was trying to be tough back then. I was punched in the face by him," Rick related the incident. "As I lay here on the ground, I am. When he looks at me, he says, 'You are old enough to talk to me like a man, and you are old enough to get your ass beat like a man.' While it is possible that some people will view this as a traumatic experience that would have a bad affect on a teenager, Rick was of the opinion that despite the fact that his connection with his father was different, he gained a great deal of knowledge from him. He went on to remark that his father was an old-fashioned man who the world could use more of. That was one of the greatest life lessons he ever gave me, he explained. It was one of the most important lessons I've ever received. An event that occurred at his establishment in Las Vegas in 2012 led to him being sued. Every person who owns a business is aware that there are times when things are not going well, particularly when they are dealing with clients on a regular basis. In 2012, Rick Harrison was the target of a lawsuit filed by a dissatisfied Vietnam veteran who asserted that he had sustained injuries as a result of being ejected from the gold and silver pawn shop. When Daniel Callahan attempted to sell a rifle at the establishment, he reportedly got into a heated disagreement with the employees there, as reported by the New York Post. According to his allegations, Rick Harrison and his father, Richard the Old Man Harrison, violently took him from the store and placed him in a chokehold with their hands. Damages in the amount of $20,000 were sought by him. Corey Harrison, Rick Harrison's son, stated to the Las Vegas Review-Journal that his father and grandfather were never even present in the room with the customer at any point in time. Rick Harrison chose to remain silent over the incident. According to Corey, the staff members acted appropriately when Callahan became absolutely irate with a weapon in his hand and 4,000 people waiting. This is according to the version provided by the witnesses. "I want to see the owner," he was yelling out in a loud voice. Given the manner in which he was behaving, it was in our best interest to get him from that location. It is not known whether Rick reached a settlement with the plaintiff or whether the lawsuit was dismissed, but negative publicity of this nature can have a significant influence on a company. Because of his political beliefs, he lost support. There are a number of prominent people who make use of their platform to express their political opinions, but others have a tendency to avoid discussing subjects related to politics. Take, for example, Taylor Swift, whose history of controversial moments includes her history of remaining silent about political issues throughout her career. Pawn Stars star Rick Harrison, on the other hand, has not been frightened into silence by the possibility of receiving criticism. In the year 2015, he made his support for the Republican contender Marco Rubio public. To add insult to injury, that endorsement quickly got him into trouble. "I suddenly became famous, and I was the one willing to throw my career away to endorse a Republican," he revealed, after being interviewed by CNN at the time. "I was the one who was willing to do that. When you give your support to a Republican candidate, everyone essentially frowns at you. I'm not sure why, but hey," she said. When Harrison weighed in on the issue of trans rights during the same conversation, he dug himself a bigger hole among his liberal admirers. There are certain localities that have enacted laws that allow a male to use the restroom reserved for women if he has the perception that he is a woman regardless of his gender. "I can assure you that some very bad men who want to go into a bathroom where there are young ladies will take advantage of that," he stated. "I guarantee it." An additional admission made by the celebrity was that he was concerned that his political beliefs would end up costing him the show. Indeed, on its own, this interview was enough to have an effect on his professional life. It was alleged by Outfront magazine that Rick lost endorsements as a result of expressing these statements. The years that followed allowed Rick to become acquainted with the Trump family as well. He passed away in 2018, Rick Harrison's father. It is possible that the death of a parent is one of the most difficult experiences a person can go through, and in 2018, Rick Harrison went through this experience firsthand when his father, Richard the Old Man Harrison, passed away. The remark that Rick put on Instagram, which was accompanied by a picture of his father, was an expression of his sorrow. "He will be tremendously missed by our family, the team at Gold and Silver Pawn, and his many fans the world over," he stated in his statement. "He was my hero, and being blessed with a very cool old man as my father was a blessing in disguise. That I was able to share him with a large number of other people, and that they were able to witness what a wonderful family guy he was, is something that I am thankful to have had the opportunity to experience with him." It has been reported by TMZ that Richard suffered from Parkinson's disease, which would provide an explanation for his absence from the show throughout the course of the past few seasons. A memorial service for Rick's father was held in Las Vegas, and it was attended by his family, friends, and admirers alike. This is a testimonial to how popular Rick's father enjoyed being. Over the years, Rick has continued to post tributes to his father, including a photograph of Richard when he was younger and serving in the Navy for the occasion of Veterans Day and other holidays. Despite the fact that the old man has passed away, his son and the rest of the Pawn Stars family will never forget him. In his life, Rick Harrison has been through 3 divorces. The love life of Rick Harrison has been, for all intents and purposes, an open book. There are many mysteries about Pawn Stars that fans were not supposed to know, but for the most part, it has been open source. Despite the fact that it is not something that he covers extensively in the series, he has never concealed the fact that he has done so. The fact that the Pawn Don Juan has been married 4 times and divorced 3 times demonstrates that he is more than willing to pursue romantic relationships. The year 1985 marked the year when he divorced his first wife, Kim Harrison. Following a marriage that lasted for 25 years, his second wife, Tracy Harrison, divorced him in 2011. In the year 2021, TMZ reported that he and his third wife, Deanna Burdett, had divorced the previous year, but they had been able to keep the news of their divorce out of the public eye. Court documents that were obtained by TMZ indicate that Rick filed for divorce in July of 2020 due to the fact that their priorities and perspectives were no longer congruent with one another. The couple's marriage, which had lasted for 7 years, came to an end in September of 2020 when the divorce was formalized. It goes without saying that the timing was nothing in contrast to the legal turmoil that Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie was going through with their divorce. As seen by the fact that he is currently married to a woman whose name is Amanda Palmer, it did not take Rick very long to begin a new romantic relationship. Rick admits that the road to genuine love has not been paved with gold, but he has never allowed this to make him more cynical. In 2022, Rick Harrison's mother filed a lawsuit against him. Beginning a commercial venture with one's family might be challenging and not a good idea, but when it is successful, it can be beneficial for all parties involved. Over the course of many years, Rick Harrison worked side by side with his father, Richard the Old Man Harrison, without any incidents occurring. On the other hand, things started to become a little more problematic after Richard passed away in 2018. Joanne Harrison, Rick's own mother, filed a lawsuit against him in 2022. Rick was subject to the lawsuit. The complicated case involved Joanne's allegations that Rick forced her to sign away her 51% ownership in the pawn store when she became unwell in the early 2000s. Joanne claimed that Rick pushed her into signing the document. In the end, Joanne was the recipient of Richard's 49% part in the company after he passed away. But according to the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Rick did not provide her with the breakdown of the revenue and expenses of the business that she had requested. The matriarch of the family was attempting to identify assets that she said her husband had accumulated over the course of their marriage. These assets included more than $500,000 in cash and silver. At the time, Rick was quick to defend himself to the newspaper, saying, "Now that I've seen the Review-Journal story and what is alleged in the lawsuit, I can say that the allegations are false, and I think that my 81-year-old mother is being manipulated by others for their personal gain." Rick's mother is 81 years old. When Joanne sought a restraining order against Rick, the situation only became more dramatic from that point on. It is not certain whether the lawsuit is still being pursued at the time this article was written in the year 2024. In the year 2024, the cast of Pawn Stars was exposed to yet another tragedy. A fentanyl overdose was the cause of death for Rick Harrison's son, Adam Harrison, who passed away on January 19th. It has been reported by the New York Post that Adam was released from jail a few months before to his passing. Rick could not provide any specifics regarding the circumstances surrounding Adam's arrest. However, he did tell the outlet that fentanyl turned my son into someone he wasn't, and that brought with it bad decisions and spending time in jail. During the time that Adam passed away, he was residing in the guest house of another individual. In the weeks leading up to his passing, Adam appeared to be having a difficult time, according to a neighbor who did not wish to be identified. According to a report that was published in the New York Post, the neighbor in question stated that his conversations were frequently devoid of sound reasoning and mental clarity. Rick posted a touching tribute to his kid on Instagram along with the statement, "You will always be in my heart." The loss was undoubtedly sad, and Rick's post was accompanied by the caption, "Yes, Adam, I adore you." The fentanyl crisis in this country must be taken more seriously, Rick said in the statement that he had previously provided to the New York Post regarding the situation. Despite the fact that nothing is being done to stop it, it appears that it is simply flowing across the borders. It is imperative that we improve. In the month of February in the year 2024, Adam was laid to rest at a private burial service. The allegations of shady business practices have been a blot on his professional career. In spite of the fact that it is obvious that Rick Harrison's personal life has not been the smoothest, what about his commercial dealings? It is possible that Rick is the guy to get in touch with if you are interested in learning about things that you should never purchase from a pawn shop. However, does his experience make him a squeaky clean businessman? There is a little more nuance to the answer than the fans might think at first. Rick's career has been hampered by rumors of questionable business operations, despite the fact that the gold and silver pawn shop is a well-known establishment in Las Vegas. An individual by the name of David Walters allegedly filed a criminal complaint in 2014, stating that his niece had sold a coin collection to Rick's store in an unauthorized manner. This information was revealed by Fox News. Unfortunately, the police were not able to get in touch with the shop in a timely manner, and by the time they did, it was believed that the coins had been transformed into a liquid state. In addition to this, Walton asserted that the collection was truly worth a great deal more than the $9,500 that his niece was given for them. Rick was implicated in a lawsuit that was filed by a former promoter 2 years before to this occurrence. The promoter claimed that Rick was fired without cause and that he was not compensated for his work. According to CNBC News, Rick, his father, and Austin Chumley Russell, another celebrity, were all identified as suspects in the current investigation. It is abundantly clear that Rick's business dealings are not going well, whether or not it is his fault when you consider this. The lawsuit that the previously mentioned war veteran filed, and the conflict he has with his own mother regarding his business. Thanks for joining us on this emotional journey through Rick Harrison's life. His story is a reminder of the resilience and strength needed to face life's toughest challenges. If you found this video compelling, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Creepshow for more deep dives into the lives of your favorite TV personalities and more dark tales from the entertainment world. Comment below with your thoughts on Rick's story, or let us know who you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, keep your eyes open and stay curious. This is Creepshow, signing off.